friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today it's all about the temperature blankets. Should you cast one on this year? We're gonna go over what a temperature blanket is, and we're gonna have some beautiful patterns of knit and crochet to get you inspired to cast on a temperature blanket this year. Welcome! Temperature blankets is a thing that has been going around the crafting community for a few years. I would say since about 2018, 2019, it started getting popular, and in the few years, more and more knitters and crocheters have been doing these temperature blankets. But is the temperature blanket for you? Let's dive deeper. I'm also going to include some links down below with some templates and everything for you. A temperature blanket is essentially a blanket where you knit or crochet a certain amount of stitches or rows every day with the average temperature in your area. It is done within that same year, but there's some people that knit or crochet a temperature blanket for milestone year. For example, the year that someone's gotten married, someone's born, a milestone birthday, all of these things. You can actually Google the average temperatures every day for that year. So you can go and re-knit or crochet a blanket, temperature blanket for years and years ago. Now, typically we start in January and go all the way to December. We're only about January 20th. So if you want to cast one on, now is the time. We're going to be going over 14 patterns, some knit and some crochet, to give you an idea and maybe some inspiration. You don't have to limit yourself there. There are tons of incredible patterns as well as free ones on Ravelry for these temperature blankets. I want to know from you, have you wanted to knit or crochet a temperature blanket, or have you already done one? Let me know in the comments below. The first thing that you want to do is you want to be able to set yourself a color palette. You want to figure out how many colors that you want for your temperature blanket, as well as what type of color scheme. Do you want it more rainbow? Would you like it more pastels or blues and greens? You want to be able to have a cohesive blanket at the end. You will also figure out the climate in your area. Now, this is going to change depending on what areas and where you are located in the world. And I've included some resources for you to be able to check that out. Here is an example of a different template of what you can use for different temperatures. Now, don't limit yourself to only these. If you want to do 10 colors or 12 colors, you can put that in there and you can have fun customizing your own temperature blanket. The next thing you want to consider on your temperature blanket is the weight of yarn as well as the fiber. You need to figure out what type of yarn that you would like to use, what type of weight of yarn that you would like to use for your blanket. Personally, I don't know if I want to knit a fingering weight blanket, so I may hold that double, or I may use a DK weight, worsted weight, even a bulky weight. I think it would make a beautiful, beautiful pattern. There are also incredible commercial yarns that are perfect for temperature blankets. They will be superwash and hold up with time. These are heirloom blankets. This is something that you are putting your time and energy every single day. You want it to last and be beautiful. I do know that Lion Brand in the past has had some fun temperature kits. Even potentially Knit Picks has also had some fun temperature blanket kits. So you can go and visit those for inspiration. They have really great yarn lines that are perfect for blankets. Or you can even go to your local Joann's or Michael's. It doesn't have to be the most expensive yarn because we want things to be practical, and commercial yarn is amazing for those types of knits and crochet. All right, we've now gone over our temperature. I will put the link below on how to figure out what your climate is. That'll be all down below for you guys. We've gone over the yarn weights as well as what we want to look for in a yarn. Now, the pattern inspiration. For this, I have pulled up 14 different patterns from knit and crochet from different designers, all for a perfect temperature blanket. So let's dive in. Number one, we have the Linen Square Temp Blanket by Toni Lipsey. Now, Toni has been doing some fun temperature blankets for the past few years, and she is just a superstar in the crochet world. I highly, highly recommend her patterns, and this one is a free pattern on Ravelry. She uses a worsted weight and uses Cascade Yarns 220, which is a superwash yarn commercial and is great for any accessories, blankets, garments. I've used Cascade 220 in the past, and it is an amazing, amazing yarn. She also even has a YouTube video for the border and more information on her blog. I think that this is a beautiful pattern, as well as you are just making some fun squares and attaching them together. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that each square is for every month, which I think is really fun, and you can really see the way that the weather is turning and the different colors. Really inspirational. So this one is definitely a favorite in my opinion if I were to crochet. Total disclaimer, I can't crochet. I've tried in the past, I can chain, and it ends there. Maybe 2024 is the year of crochet for me to finally learn. All I want is to knit a granny square. It shouldn't be that hard, but somehow it is. The next pattern is the JACQUARD Temperature Blanket by Rosina Plain. Now this one is really cute. It comes in both a wall hanging, a throw, and a runner, but it has some incredible textures and even has all of the months on there. So as you get going into the months, it will switch and say January, February, March, April, and so on and so forth. And even has fun different textured patterns on each of the sides. I do love that, and it is just kind of that extra little oomph in a crochet pattern that gives it a really nice sophisticated look. This one is DK weight yarn, and she used Stylecraft Special Double Knit. This is a paid for pattern on Ravelry, and it is crochet. The next pattern I have for you all is from Lion Brand. Now this is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is using their Aran weight, and they call this the Temperature Blanket Knit. This one is using Lion Brand Basic Stitch Anti-Pilling. I have used this yarn in the past and really love it. I used it for the girls' Little Mermaids, and I can confidently say it is anti-pilling because they've been sleeping with those little tiny mermaids, and the yarn has held up beautifully. They even have a fun little chart with the different colors, everything for you with the colorway name. So if you are not sure what colors to pick, what temperature, Lion Brand has it all figured out for you in this pattern. So I will link that one again down below. The next pattern is a knitting pattern. It is called the High-Low Temperature Blanket from Rachel Dawn. This one was using a worsted weight yarn and is actually using Knit Picks Brava. Knit Picks Brava is an incredible commercial and affordable yarn. I've used this in the past for the girls' pair of mittens and potentially another accessory or two. It holds up incredibly over time, doesn't really pill, and is just amazing. So I highly recommend this yarn. This is a paid for pattern, and it is really pretty. It's creating these little tiny squares, and every single day you create one little tiny square and add it onto your blanket. I even love all the way at the end, she has a fun chart with the year, and you can even put your colors on the temperature, so you have all of your information right there on your blanket. This next pattern is the Temperature Blanket 2017 from Natalie Buffal, and she has also used Lion Brand's Vanna's Choice. Now this is a great option, especially for people who don't want to go and purchase online. Lion Brand Vanna's Choice is available through most Michaels as well as Joann's. So if you want to go there and choose some colors, I think that that'd be a great option. It is a Aran weight, and it comes in one size, and it is a paid for pattern. I really love all of the earthy, orangey, blue, green colors that she's chosen for this. It is absolutely stunning. Love this pattern. Next one is a knitting blanket. So this one is the Temperature Blanket from Kat Montgomery of Kat Knits. It is in a worsted weight. They suggested Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted, which is an incredible, another great affordable yarn. Please keep in mind that the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes is not as soft as the Brava. So if you're looking for a really fun, soft blanket, I would highly recommend the Knit Picks Brava rather than Wool of the Andes, as well as the Brava is completely superwash, whereas the Wool of the Andes is not. Please keep that in mind when you see those patterns. So the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes is not superwash, it is hand wash because it's 100% wool, whereas the Brava is a commercial superwash yarn, and it is a free pattern on Ravelry. This pattern we have is a knitting pattern. It is called the Temperature Timepiece in the Round by Andrea Shanty. She used Knit Picks Swish Worsted, which is a great alternative. If you are wanting something more affordable, go for the Brava, but if you can splurge a little bit, their Swish line, crazy soft, really fun. It has a merino superwash. It's 100% merino superwash and is really, really soft. This one is a Schlanket. It has one size, and it is a free pattern on Ravelry. The next pattern is the Ribbed Temperature Blanket or Scarf from Gabrielle Vezina. This is a knitting pattern as well. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is knit out of worsted weight yarn. She suggests Cascade 220, Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, Barocco Ultra Alpaca. The only ones that I would potentially stay clear of would be the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes as well as the Barocco Ultra Alpaca. I don't really think that those are great for blankets in my personal opinion. I've used both of those yarns before. I would maybe switch to the Knit Picks Brava, and Barocco has tons of amazing lines that would be more superwash friendly rather than their alpaca. So if you're sensitive to that, and alpaca sometimes, depending on that one, can be a little itchy. So if you're wanting a more comfy blanket, comfy cozy, definitely go for those. But this blanket, like I said, is free, and it is just beautiful. And she has a photo of a puppy in it. What more can you ask for, right? The next pattern I have for you all is a knitting pattern. It is called the Chevron Temperature Blanket from Louise Bolanos. And this one is out of super bulky weight yarn. So if you are wanting a quick knit, super bulky is the way to go. It was knit out of Paintbox Yarn Wool Mix Super Chunky. I've used Paintbox yarn in the past, not this base, but I've used their Paintbox for socks, and they are really nice. I think you can purchase them on Lovecraft, if I'm not mistaken. I will link that below. And this is just a really, really pretty, I love that it's a grello, that yellow and gray. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. Next up is another pattern from Tony. Tunisian Crochet Temperature Blanket by Tony Lipsy. This one is really fun. It's different from the others. It seems as though you're doing 4 strips, so each quarter has a strip. And it is really, really fun. It's knit out of Knit Picks Swish DK, and it is also a free pattern on Ravelry. She has a fun color palette already figured out for you, so if you're not really sure on what to do, you can definitely go and choose the same color palette that she did. The next pattern is a crochet pattern, and it's called the Heirloom Temperature Blanket from Surata Rina Hossein. Completely apologize. This is a fingering weight throw, and it is a paid for pattern. It has a lovely, it looks almost like a slip stitch texture to it that goes into the next row. Really, really pretty. And it comes in one size. So this one, they recommend hand-dyed yarn. If you don't want to have that hand-dyed yarn, you can easily substitute for a commercial brand yarn that's just a fingering weight gauge. This is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. Next pattern I have for you all is the Coziest Memory from Kemper Ray. This one is a fingering weight pattern, and it is beautiful. It's these little tiny squares. A lot of people call them just the memory blanket, Coziest Memory Blanket, and you just make a square each and every single day, add them on, and I think that this would make a beautiful temperature blanket. It's not advertised as a temperature blanket, but it's easily customizable to make your own blanket from this. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is just really, really pretty. Each square is about 3.5 inches on each side and is perfect to do every single day. The last blanket I have for you all is the temperature blanket from Lullaby Melodia, and this is a crochet. They use Stylecraft Special Double Knit, a DK weight, and even have color palettes already set and done for you with the temperatures. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's just really fun and it looks like a simple stitch in crochet. Would I know? Maybe not, but it does look like a very simple stitch. Really, really pretty. I do love how they already have the color palettes and everything done for you, so they take the guessing work out of it. I want to know from you guys, are you knitting or crocheting a temperature blanket this year? Was there one of these that you really love? Or do you have any other fun temperature blanket suggestions, patterns? Please put them below. I'm really curious to see what you guys are knitting on and crocheting on this year, and hope to keep the craftiness going. Thank you all so much for checking out my channel. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and I have more videos coming ahead. Thank you, friends. Have a wonderful, fantastic day. Happy knitting and sewing. Bye.